Do you think student athletes should get paid? As a former one?
No.
No.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why?
Because in my opinion, you are a student athlete. And in my experience, while I was not getting paid for my contributions to the school, I was receiving a significant amount of value in exchange for my services.
Okay.
So for example, my tuition, my housing, my books, and I also received a cash grant every semester in US dollars.
Wow.
So you sort of got paid.
So
there is an exchange of goods and services.
there was an exchange of value for the services that I was providing. And with my experience, especially in South Florida, where football is huge, most of the time, it's a privilege to be a student athlete. It's not a right. And I maintain that even for professional sports. That's something that is really important to me. It's not a right for you to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. It's not a right for you to sign with a team. It's a privilege. So when you are out in the community representing that, it's something bigger than yourself. And so my take on it has always been, for however long you are going to be there, you are receiving something that if you choose to make it something even more valuable and something even more tangible and helpful, then that's a unique opportunity. And so as a student athlete, I received my education, I received my food, I got my books. I didn't want or need for anything. And that was as a female soccer player. So when you go look at some of these programs, and I can tell you because we used to go, play against the U and the University of Miami, and I traveled to the University of Texas. I played at Longhorn Stadium.
That's cool.
That's crazy.
That's so cool.
When you see what some of these big schools and some of these big programs have, you don't want or need for much when you are a student athlete, especially if you are under a full scholarship, which most like your Reggie Bushes, for example. Like, I've watched that 30 for 30 I don't know how many times, and it breaks my heart to hear that his parents were struggling to pay their rent and wound up in that house in San Diego or wherever it was. But I can tell you, Reggie Bush, if he had a full scholarship, he wasn't looking for food while he was on campus. He had a great dorm. He would have had tutors available to him. And so I know that those players are generating funds and more money, but I think that when you are 18 to 22 years old, I think that some things are more important than others, and I think looking out for your future and your education are sometimes overlooked. And I think it's what's important to you. Is just making money important to you, or is preparing yourself for life after this sport also important to you? And maybe the value of a bachelor's degree isn't the same thing for some of these guys or girls who want to get a chunk of the change for the jerseys that they're selling. But in my opinion, for the time that you're there, you can be taken care of very well. And if you choose to maximize the opportunities that are presented to you, I don't think you should want or need for much else.
And it's the very American way of looking at it, is like you have to take advantage of the opportunities that you're given, however big or small they may be. And you know what? I think part of me definitely agrees with that. I just when you hear about the Reggie Bushes of the world, when you hear about some of those programs which are underfunded, or students not taken care of as well, if you're not going to pay the student athletes, I think there should be some sort of standardization as to what they get and how they're taken care of.
Totally agree with you, because even in our program, the way that it works is there's only so many full scholarships available, right? And then those get broken up. So as an international student, I'm more expensive to a school than an in-state student would be, or even an out-of-state student. So I cost the most to bring me in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does Canada have that? Like provinces?
Yes, it does. Not provincially, I don't think, but like each province subsidizes their education differently. Also, we don't value sports as much here as they do in the States, but Americans want you to go to your local university.
Absolutely. So there are certain, subsidies and differences in cost when you're an in-state. That's why a lot of football programs have a lot of in-state players, because they're also necessarily the cheapest. And when you're in a place like Florida, for example, when you have so much of the top talent coming out of South Florida and places like Liberty City anyways, you don't necessarily have to extend your recruiting budget maybe as far, or stretch it as far as some other schools
It's like
would.
the Montreal Canadiens being able to sign all the Quebec-born players.
It's like having an internal cap too, right? Because there's only so much you can spend. Oh, and no, depending on the school, sometimes there is no limitation, especially when it comes to football.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a tremendous compliment to your skill that they brought you all the way down there, not out of state, but out of country.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
So I definitely appreciated my time, and when I do hear, my heart does break for a lot of these athletes who genuinely feel like, you go back to the Michigan 5 guys, and and the black Nike socks and the sneakers and everything. And yeah, I understand why, when you come from the socioeconomic background that you come from, how difficult it would be to feel like you aren't getting what you are entitled to and what you deserve. Excuse me, but
it's the chocolate milk.
I think it's the chocolate milk. But at the same time, what's waiting for you on the other side, I mean, I wouldn't have had a chance to earn that type of money or access to the NBA just because I'm a female soccer player. So it's just, for me, being a student athlete was a really special, unique experience. And I think that side of it kind of gets overlooked because you're an athlete. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting to hear from somebody that's been there.